A groundbreaking lawsuit in gender transition treatments for minors is underway. A young woman alleges she was coerced into treatments at the age of 15 that caused permanent mutilation and damage to her body.
Well, now 18, Chloe Cole is suing the nation's largest medical group. Her legal action may be the first of its kind in this country, and it could open a floodgate of similar suits. Heather Sells reports on what's at stake.
Chloe Cole charges that doctors said her gender confusion would not resolve unless she underwent medical treatment and surgery. And she adds they warned her and her parents of the risk of suicide.
It was a decision that I was allowed to make at 15. And when they told me that I wasn't going to be able to breastfeed, at the time, it didn't really mean much to me because I was just a kid. I was just in high school.
18-year-old Cole is now taking on Kaiser Permanente, the country's largest medical group, with more than 23,000 physicians, 39 hospitals, and over 200,000 employees. She alleges that Permanente doctors began giving her off-label puberty blockers 5 years ago, plus weekly doses of testosterone, and finally, a double mastectomy. Her pre-lawsuit demand letter alleges that doctors failed to explain the serious risks to her and her parents, that they concealed that most gender confusion resolves with age, and that inadequately studied treatments amounted to medical experimentation.
They were selling a product, and they sold it not just to Chloe, but to many other girls.
Cole's attorney tells CBN News other young women are beginning to come forward and notes time is of the essence as many states have short statutes of limitations. In recent years, pediatric gender medicine in the U.S. has skyrocketed, with clinics opening across the country, leading to an explosion in treatments. Dylan agrees with many parents that teens should not be allowed to make such decisions.
Children of Chloe's age, when she had the surgery, they can't get tattoos, they can't drink, they can't vote, they can't serve in the armed services. And yet we are treating them as fit to make permanent bodily changes.
CBN News contacted Kaiser Permanente, and the company stated it can't comment on the case out of respect for patient privacy and in compliance with state and federal laws. Doctors performed Cole's mastectomy in 2020. 1 year later, she told them she regretted her transition and stopped taking testosterone. In recent months, she has begun speaking publicly, becoming one of the more well-known detransitioners.
And I realized that I'm not the only one who is in this situation, and I need to start speaking up because this is what happened to me. It's very real, and it's being silenced.
A similar lawsuit is underway in the United Kingdom. Analysts like the Heritage Foundation's Jay Richards warn a legal slugfest could be coming to the U.S.
We're going to have thousands of young people who are detransitioning. They're going to be mad at what's happened. And so I honestly think maybe it's 5 years, maybe it's 10 years, that this is all going to end.
Newly formed professional health care groups are calling for more research on ways to best treat gender confusion, or what's known as gender dysphoria. They are alarmed by the spike in numbers, especially among teen girls who identify as boys. Andrew.
Thank you, Heather. Chloe, obviously extremely brave and courageous. How likely do you think we are to see more detransitioners suing? And then how might it affect the field of gender medicine?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because, as you said, Chloe is courageous, and it takes a lot to go up against a medical group like Kaiser or another. And a lot of times for these detransitioners, it takes a couple years to realize that they regret and that they want to switch back. And so by that time, they can miss the statute of limitations. But if Chloe's case is successful going up against this huge medical group, it could really raise awareness in the trans community, kids who are thinking about detransitioning. And it could open up the gates for more lawsuits, and that could change the calculus of hospital risk management teams as they evaluate these procedures and these treatments and how they want to go forward, Andrew.
Yeah, Heather, and as our viewers may know, the Biden administration tried to force religious hospitals and doctors to perform gender transition surgeries. So what's the status of that mandate now?
Right. Just last week, the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals pushed back and blocked the mandate. The 5th Circuit Court of Appeals did the same thing a few months ago. And this mandate started in 2016 with the Obama administration. It interprets the Affordable Care Act to say that doctors cannot refuse a transgender treatment on a patient, even if the doctors think it will be harmful to the patient. So by blocking this mandate, both courts are sending a strong signal. Now the Biden administration has to decide if it wants the 8th Circuit to rehear the case or if it wants to take it to the Supreme Court. So we're waiting on the Biden administration right now, Andrew.
All right, everybody, that's Heather Sells. Heather, thank you so much for your report.